On our last videos, we traveled our first leg of our 2025 epic northern road trip, leaving Phoenix and making some stops along the way, ending up camping at coral pink sand dunes, where we now pick up and continue. Howdy everybody, it's Glenn. This is the Cactus Atlas, and I'm here in the morning at Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park, about to depart on another epic road trip adventure to my next location. So you're looking at the spot where my tent was last night, and I had a great night's sleep. I was pretty much out. I wore myself out yesterday. If you watched that episode, it was a long day. Have another long travel day today, so why don't we start off and see what we have in store. And there's my ever faithful sidekick Slim, my pickup truck, all packed up and ready. Everything's organized, and we have our black book. We can consult with today's itinerary. Today is July the 24th of 2025, and we're here. We've broken down camp, and we're about to leave, mainly to go to Salt Lake City, Utah, Antelope Island State Park, right on the lake, camping in that state park. So we're doing 2 of Utah's state parks, and got a few easy stops along the way. Today's mostly going to be in the car, and of course I'll stop if I see anything else of interest along the way that catches my fancy. I have noticed these lizards in the morning and late afternoon. They're not too afraid of others. It's losing its skin, if you can see. Try to get closer. Boy, you're really not afraid there, sir. You are really not afraid. And here's the really nice vantage point. You can hike out there, as I did a couple of years ago. Hiked to the top of the dune, the big one. The sands shift for sure. Probably looks different from what I remember, but kind of the same. But yeah, the sun is glistening off the sand, so it's pretty bright already. The sand does have a pinkish hue. Right now, kind of an orangish pink. Coral pink is the proper term, I think. And if you look up in the cliffs there, you see that red sandstone. I think that's Navajo sandstone. So the stuff forms from that reddish colored sandstone. Just years and years of wind chipping away at the sand, and it all kind of collected here for whatever reason. That part I don't know. It probably tells you, like right here. There you go. Yeah, it talks about the wind and wind piling up. I don't know what about this landscape is conducive to it, but I'm sure if we had time to read and study, we would learn, but we don't. For those of you familiar with this general region, we were kind of in this area, the Vermilion Cliffs, Kanab. Yesterday we drove through there from the south, and today we're heading north up through Panguitch, Utah, but then to see, we're not really going to our usual haunts like Bryce Canyon. You can see it's very high elevation. Zion, very close to Zion right now, in fact. And then here's Coral Pink in the whole grand scheme of things. So you can see the further we go this way, the higher the elevation. So we're down here in this pocket, kind of in the middle. They do rent sandboards here, not the cheap ones like you would see at like White Sands. We're talking the real deal things that go really fast. Got footage of someone on one of those. I think they rent side-by-sides here. There's this place over here that does, and I saw an advertisement for a service that will tow you, I guess, or drive you to the sand dune so you can, I guess, sled and spend less time walking. I don't know. Or you just drive around the sand dunes. It looks like a lot of fun, to be honest. Something that's on my bucket list now to do. And I think what that's going to look like is, another trip where I'm here for at least 2 days. I could spend 2 days in this place, no problem, if I do all of those activities, that is, and camp. But be it as it is now, we're on a whirlwind tour. So with that said, folks, we got to hit the road. I need to actually hit the visitor center too and get some B-roll, as they call it in the biz. some footage for Campvue of the visitor center. Nice visitor center. They have a lot of comforts here. Saw ice machines, cold sodas, drone permits, and they're open till 10 p.m. Board rentals were in the visitor center, so I think it's important that we document that. So let's hit the truck and head over there, and then we're going to hit the open road. I went into the visitor center and got some of my footage and asked some questions. I think I saw all of the sandboards. They have like the sit-down style and they have like the snowboard style. And I think she said, now I'm already drawing a blank. I think she said $25 a day. And then I was wrong about rentals for the side-by-sides, that fleet over there. They're not rentals for people just to take and go. They're for guided tours. And then that service that will basically drive you to the dunes, pick you up at the bottom, take you back to the top, you know, that whole thing is part of that. So that thing called Roam, I think, are not, but she said the nearest rentals are around, she thinks are in Hurricane, Utah. I'm not really sure how far that is from here. Probably pretty close. I know I've been through it. So anyway, there you go. So don't come out here expecting to rent and then not, and then blame me. I corrected myself. Hopefully you heard me loud and clear. But anyway, bye Coral Pink. Such a cool place. So hopefully our next stop is equally inspiring today. Antelope Island State Park, right on the shores of Salt Lake. A site that I've never seen. I've driven through the Salt Lake area to go to Wyoming once, but never really even saw the lake, the route that I went. So today is gonna be another Cactus Atlas first, another me first, something that I've always wanted to see. So there are two ways I could go. I consulted with the girl that was working in the visitor center to get to 89, which is where I want to go to Panguitch. Familiar territory for the Cactus Atlas. We filmed that route many times. One of the most beautiful drives in the country, I think. And it doesn't really matter which way I go, but yesterday I made a left turn onto this road coming up, and you could go straight to get back to 89, and apparently that's the faster way for today. It'll save me like 2 minutes, she said. So either way, you really can't go wrong. But I know where I'm going and should be able to get to the next location where I have cell phone coverage so I can hook up the Google Maps. It's kind of scary though. I'm really starting to know my way around southern Utah without maps. I guess for as many times as I've come here, I shouldn't be surprised, right? All right, well, what we'll do is I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna get out of this area. Again, maybe we'll stop, get some coffee. We're doing good on fuel, full tank still. And yeah, we're good. If that is Zion after all, like the big sandstone over there. I might be wrong about that. We're in the general area for sure. Now I'm second guessing that. I don't think it is. But actually I am almost positive it is not. Now that I come to think about it, I don't know why I was saying that. But it's still pretty. Should be able to catch a view of it right here. In fact, one almost wants to pull over really quick and see if we can get some better views of this. And I got this guy that's really annoying me in a big Penske box truck who wants to drive like insanely fast. Here, now he's just so impatient. What an a-hole, man. He's driving like a maniac in that box truck. Sorry, I'm not going to judge, even though I just did. Anyway, I'm gonna get the drone up actually, and let's just survey this beautiful landscape from right here. Let's go. It's a very busy road. I'm waiting for people to pass because old man Glenn here doesn't like to drive fast. The older I get, I'm turning into one of those slow drivers, I admit it. I just like to enjoy myself, but people around these parts are very impatient, it would seem. But I guess I can understand. When I was younger, I probably was too. Anyway, we're driving straight off into the sandstone. I was flying my drone and it doesn't pop as much on camera as it does with my own eyes. Like, it's a lot larger on the horizon than my cameras make it seem, certainly the GoPro. So hopefully we get right up on it and you can get a good look at it. But feeling good. I actually feel the best I felt physically in a long time. I really attribute it to that pushing myself hard yesterday and then really contributing to really good sleep, where I pretty much just was knocked out, didn't wake up, and woke up feeling a little rough at first, but once I got moving, feeling energized. And that's part of what this trip is actually about for me. It's not just, Campvue and the business. It's not just making Cactus Atlas videos. It's a personal thing. Because I've been in my home for 8-9 months or something like that. Really rarely leaving the house other than to go to the grocery store and run errands. I'm fine, but the whole cancer treatment thing really just changed and turned everything upside down. And so getting out and being out for consecutive weeks like this, I think, is just the thing, kind of like jump starting a battery. It's kind of how I feel. And yesterday definitely jump started me. And as soon as I stopped talking, I realized we snuck up on this large sandstone structure, hopefully getting better views now in the morning light. Still a lot of shadows to help it pop a little bit. And today's drive, it's a lot of driving. I forget the mileage, but probably not quite as many miles as yesterday, but not far off. It's one of my longer driving days. I tried to stack them all up front so I could get up to the northern sections where I'm going to be spending more time, you know, consecutive days camping in campgrounds, things like that. But there's your view, folks. And this should be, is this 89? I imagine this is 89. I'm not sure. Is 89 up? Oh, actually, this is kind of a weird thing. I think 89 is at the top of this hill. I'm not sure where this goes. Man, just around every turn, there's just a fantastic view. So I keep telling myself, you know, we don't want to over film, but it's hard not to. It really is. When modern tech makes it so easy just to push a button to roll the cameras, the way I got them set up, it's pretty automated. It lends to long videos, I guess, but a lot of you like those and prefer them, so that's really, these are for you. Wow. Utah, Utah, Utah. Just love the combination of the red and then all of the green too. It's one of the few places around that you can see that combo. It goes well together. And actually we do have a signal finally, so let me get some routes plotted. Here at Mount Carmel, if you go left, that's how you go to Zion. We're not going there today. I'm going to this trading post, gas station combo. I'm looking for coffee. I'm in the mood now. Whereas I was not before. There's a restaurant there, but the restaurant's clearly not open, or else it has 0 patrons. I imagine this place has got to have coffee. Whoa, I chose poorly to come over this way and park. It's chaos over here. I guess I'm just gonna do this. And then I'm not gonna film. You don't need to see me go in there. I'm gonna be right back, hopefully with hot coffee. All right, we are good. I got coffee. We're gonna do a taste test together. We'll see how it goes.
Turn left onto US 89
not the most safe place to be, but there's home of the homemade pies. I don't know why that's funny. The way it's spelled with a dash like that, I guess.
Utah 9 West.
Anyway, this place was called the White Mountain.
State Street.
All right, I heard ya. White Mountain Trading Post is where I went. I've been here before, filled up there once or twice. Very friendly people in there that work there, by the way.
Continue on US 89
very
north
cool.
for 30 miles.
So don't be shy. But anyway, she said she put on a fresh pot of coffee, so this should have freshness to it. Smells good. Smells better than like McDonald's or fast food coffee. It's got more of that, you know, hits your nose harder in a good way. Probably didn't sound very appetizing, but you know what I mean. Got some hair on my camera lens there. Let's see if it's cool enough to try. It's hot, and it's good. It's actually good. I wouldn't lie to you, I promise. If I don't like something, I'd tell you. I would say better than average coffee that you typically would find, you know, way better than gas station coffee, I would say. It's very, actually, I don't know what they used on that, the one that I got, but it's quite good, quite flavorful. It's one thing I don't like about coffee is when it doesn't have that oomph. I could tell it's got some strength to it based on the taste, I think. But look at all this beautiful farmland. I mean, every time I come out here, it's just, I think that I chose the wrong path in life. Sometimes, though, I guess the path chooses you. Granted, I'm fortunate for what I've chosen how to do. It pays the bills, but part of me just thinks living in a place like this with some farmland, like something calls to my deep inside for some reason about that. problem is I don't think Amy, my wife, would really want to live in a place like this. Although I promised her we could stock up. You could find, you can get your groceries and stuff, just stock up and limit how many times you got to go out. What else do you need? So the next stop is what I'm calling a leg stretch. It's basically just a historic marker, a former pioneer settlement where there's nothing left, is my understanding, other than just a historic marker and some graves somewhere. Just wanted to get out, read the sign, tell the little story maybe, and got a couple stops like that. Other than just the beautiful landscape seen from the truck, the big showcase thing I think is going to be the Great Salt Lake today. So I kind of want to get up there to experience that and have time. So I didn't really plan as many small stops today in between. We have 3, which is probably on par, but nothing like, just small things like that. I think a couple historic signs and something else I found. So of course, if you're familiar with our videos, you've been here, we just passed one of the turns, one of the ways to go over to Zion National Park. We were very close to Zion back there where I got the coffee. Now we're in Orderville. And this is the way you would go to Bryce Canyon. And Bryce is not terribly far away. And the All-American Highway that we've traveled, a very scenic route. And there's why I say people should drive slowly in these towns, because you have a lot of that. Speed limit's 35 through here, but you'll see people doing 80, no problem. Orderville, it's the law in Orderville. You see lots of really old looking houses mixed in here. It's just such a quaint feel, these towns. Some kind of an event going on. Not sure what it is. A lot of people hanging out, actually. I bet, you know what I bet it is? We just saw that tractor. I bet it's a parade. They're probably gonna do a parade here. How cool. It says they're celebrating 150 years here in Orderville, so that's probably what the parade's gonna be, or whatever everybody's gathering for. Good little turnout there in this little town. A lot of little antique shops. I think I need to do a whole channel just from the car. It's just so relaxing. Anyway, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna shut up, and then we have about half an hour until we get to the leg stretch. And then I'm not gonna talk so much, I think. It's just at different points. And I'll just get some road footage as I'm inspired and see beautiful things. We've been through here before, like I said, if you've watched our old episodes. So I don't know how much more I can say about how beautiful it is back here. Approaching our leg stretch, just as somebody appeared behind me that must be one of those crazy drivers that I mentioned. Kind of riding close, so I don't like having to turn off a road like this with someone behind me like that, but anywho, it's about a mile away from our leg stretch, something called the Assay settlement, the former site of a pioneer settlement that there's nothing left other than I think some graves, and I don't know if the graves are where the pull-off is for this thing or not. I think it'll be on the left side of the road. We'll find out. I just like to...
In half a mile, your destination
There she is.
will be on the left.
On the left. Let's see, is it right here? I think it's right here where the bend is, maybe. It's worrisome when you got someone behind you like this. That's riding my butt. Where is this place? Alright, it's right here. Sorry. Guy was gonna hit me. He was really... Alright, here's the sign. Let's check this out. So 89 is right out there, and this thing sneaks up on you. And I had the... probably have to edit it out because I said some naughty words at the last second, but there was one of those crazy drivers, a tourist looking kind of person, that was riding my butt, impatient, and I had to like stop pretty suddenly to get over here. And it's a very dangerous situation. If he wanted to try to pass me on this curve, it would have been disastrous. So, man, I wish I could give that person a piece of my mind, to be honest with you. Maybe they'll watch my video. And you're insane, whoever you are. Like, you need to chill. But now we're here, we're over it, and there's a little historic plaque here that talks about the location of this settlement here. It's my little leg stretch. Trying to get some leg stretches in so I'm not always sitting down for hours and hours. So that's part of why I choose these. But let's go check out the sign and see what this settlement was. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm gonna say Assay, not assay like in the mining industry, maybe Assay, but about 1872, Joseph Assay with his family settled about 3/4 of a mile west and a little south of this spot. My understanding is there's really nothing left, but early pioneer settlement, this is in memory of that. And there is a cemetery southwest of this monument, so you could see who was buried there. It looks like they've got memorials for those people, and people leave various things, and looks like someone found some old rusty artifacts here. Ooh, look at this. That looks like an old can. Sardines or something, I guess. That's cool. So this is facing south. I think they said southwest. I'm gonna guess the cemetery might be back in this direction. I don't know. That's private property though, right there. There's a road that goes back there, so not gonna go on private property. I was hoping maybe we could go find this graveyard or the cemetery, but I really don't see any other options other than that road that goes on the private property. Other than that, there's barbed wire fence all on the other side. It's pasture land, so I think this is really it, but it's still cool. I love these types of things, and this is a really beautiful roadside historic marker, better than the average, I would say. And people have been leaving little trinkets in memory of those buried in the nearby vicinity. Looks like the settlement was large enough to have a post office in 1887. and a school. And now probably nothing left at all unless you scour the landscape for rusty bits probably. And we'll get a view of this too. It's beautiful weather out here. There's a nice cool breeze, warm sun. I like that combo. I'm liking stretching the legs here. Good idea for these leg stretch segments, huh? Not always from the car, or the truck, even though got some good views from the truck, I'd say. I always like to come out here too and check the lens for bug splats. It usually sits high up enough that I think it's mostly exempt from that. It's rare that I get them on the lens. I don't even think I've had it happen yet. But you could see there's definitely bug splats on the truck. But I guess it sits high up enough to help avoid that. Okay, there we go. Historic settlement. Historic sign complete. Now to get back on 89 without killing ourselves.
Continue on US 89 North for 20 miles.
If there are any locals out there watching this, if you have an opinion about how some of these people drive around here. Not the locals, the tourists, like the guy that almost ended my life prematurely back there, perhaps. Anyway, I'm over it, and now we're back on the road. I have my next stop plotted, another half an hour to the next historic leg stretch marker for something called Fort Sanford. Once again, I don't think there's anything visible left, but maybe we'll be able to walk around and explore a little bit more than back there is my hope, but we'll see. We should be coming up on the Panguitch, Utah area. Actually, there it is. I kind of recognized this from the last time we came here to visit, came this way, and then I did some dirt road driving on the way back to the Bryce area. So we'll roll through town here, see how Panguitch is looking today. A historic town. All we're doing is going to make a right turn and stay on 89 North for now. And then our next leg stretch is about 10 minutes away, so this Fort Sanford business. But lots of beautiful farmland out here. And everybody's been driving well. I'm pleased to report haven't had any crazy drivers since my close call back there. Anyway, Panguitch, Utah, founded in 1864, another Old West town. And if you need coffee, I know I've gotten coffee here before and it was good. I forget where I bought it. Maybe at that shack back there, I don't remember. But a neat little town. Another kind of small town vibe that I really like. And probably would be very happy living in an area like this.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto US 89 North, North Main Street.
89 North, which is, the main drag where you'll see some historic buildings here in a second. we did a video and I walked around and kind of pointed out a few. They have some historic signs along up and down the street, so it's worth a. If you're into that stuff,
Turn
it's
right
definitely
onto
worth
US
a quick
89 North Main Street.
quick stop. And I just like looking at the residential homes. Some of them are really old looking, but here's the main drag.
Continue on US 89 North for 8 miles.
Of Panguitch, Utah. And that's probably it for the historic part. And it'll be more modern going this way, I think. But if you need anything, this is a good town to get it. Gas, food, coffee. And I never came up this far. Last time I just stopped back there, but I see a lot of the old houses that remind me of a lot of the ones in Escalante. Some of the really old 1800s or 1890s homes that are still standing up there. Saw a couple just like that. I rarely want a second cup of coffee. One's always enough for me, but this coffee was right at my last sip or two. Good to the last drop. So that little trading post back in now I already forget the name of the area. Mount Carmel. Good coffee. But we will not be getting a second cup. I don't want to get all edgy. But that's what I like about it. I feel energized, but I don't feel edgy. It's like whoever made this, it's the perfect amount. The drug combination went correctly. Not really a combination, just coffee. I'm not combining coffee with I don't know what else. But somebody got the formulation just right. Walter White would be proud.
My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
I never thought I'd like it.
So we're about 2 miles out from this marker. Oh, good. This guy was riding my butt, and I was like, here we go again, but he's gonna pass. Or she, I don't know. I guess the speed limit ain't good enough. But I don't know what side. Hopefully it's on the right side of the road, and hopefully it doesn't sneak up on me like that last one did. But so far the person behind me is keeping good distance. It's just people like that, you know, they don't understand that there are people like me that dig historic roadside markers and might need to pull over abruptly. We got 1 minute, 1.4 miles to go. We're going about 65 miles an hour is the speed limit here. And I don't know. I'm just rolling now, maybe even for liability here. I can capture someone hitting me. I don't want to think about that. All right, which side are you on? Please be on the right side. That would be awesome. The marker is like right on the middle of the road, so I couldn't tell you. Like, this is exciting, isn't it? Will Glenn die today? Hopefully not. I don't want to. It's almost like if there's a place to pull over in advance of the stop, like right there, you might want to, just to let people
In half a mile, your destination will be on the right.
Okay, it's on the right. So that's good. I see there's going to be a road that shoots off to the right, and the marker is right after that, if the map is up to date, what I'm seeing here. There's the little road, so I'm gonna actually do this and pull over here. There's a sharp drop off though.
Your destination is on the right.
There we go. This one's easier than the others. Wow, very idyllic looking landscape down there. Maybe I have to get the drone up in the air for this, and maybe not for the history, but for the beautiful farmland out there. Let's see. All right, we made it without dying. and it might be a little noisy. We're right next to 89, so very busy thoroughfare. Just realized this is the furthest, I've never come this far up 89, so Panguitch was the furthest I've ever gone, so we're technically in uncharted territory for me. But here's your historic marker for Fort Sanford. I don't know where the actual fort was though. Reading over the sign, basically, this is one of the many stories you'll hear about this sort of thing, but a historic fort was built in this vicinity to help protect the towns of Panguitch and other small settlements from natives. Basically, I think the various bands of the Ute and the Paiutes and Navajo Indians were the threat in this area back in the Old West. So this is in the 1860s is what we're talking about. And it says to drive down Sanford Road. I assume this must be Sanford Road, and that there's another marker somewhere down there, but you could see how beautiful that actually looks down there. Very picture worthy, but wasn't really on my itinerary to go driving down there, and I don't see anything about private property, but the stop sign I don't think has a road sign on it, so I don't know if that is Sanford Road. It doesn't say, so maps might though. Down there, like that grove of trees, I don't know if those are cottonwoods or what those are, and that stream, that creek or river down there, it's absolutely beautiful. There's lots of that in this area. It's just calling to me, man. It's just calling to me. It just feels like home, even though I don't live here. I don't know how much action they saw at this fort. You hear about a lot of this. They would build forts back in the day, and I think deterrence really was the thing that kind of calmed things down. Because you hear about various forts, and some of them really didn't see a lot of action. So I don't know if this was one, if there was known battles or anything associated with the fort. It would really be cool to know where the fort actually sat. I'm guessing somewhere in this vicinity, down there, but I could be wrong. I didn't really do any deep study on this particular thing, but... Future Glenn here. So I found a photo of the other marker, which provides a bit more information about Fort Sanford, and thought I would share what it says. There is little evidence today that Fort Sanford once existed. A land survey indicates it stood approximately 1.5 miles to the south of this marker. The fort was built in 1866 to protect the settlers in Circleville and Panguitch during the Black Hawk Indian War, and to prevent the Indians from stealing livestock. Fort Sanford also served as a supply depot for cavalry troops. Fort Sanford was designed, built, and named by Major Silas Sanford Smith and his troops. It was constructed entirely of cedar, juniper pickets that stood 8 feet above the ground. A deep ditch at the base of the wall encompassed the entire fort. The dimensions were 363 feet by 363 feet, or approximately 3 acres, with block houses. Within just 3 months of completion, President Brigham Young directed the evacuation of smaller towns for great protection. Most Panguitch residents moved to Parowan. Circleville settlers went to Beaver. With the evacuation of these two communities, the need for the fort also ended. Eventually, farmers would salvage the poles of the stockade to build houses, outbuildings, and fences. Now back to the video. The mountains back there, Bryce Canyon's off that a ways. You can kind of see orange-looking red rocks. I imagine that's where the All-American Highway goes towards Bryce, somewhere we passed that a ways back. But being as though this was just another leg-stretching event, I think I'm gonna hold off on the drone flight for this one and just make some time to get to our destination. We got a lot of driving left to do, but this is pretty neat. I dig it. And maybe the fort is right where we stand, I don't know. But we'll say goodbye to that beautiful looking farm down there, or that stream. Those people are very fortunate, and I'm sure they know it, to own that land and to live on it. Boy, I think I lost sight that really to get to Salt Lake. We still have like 5 hours to go at this point. 4 hours and 45 minutes. So considering the driving I've already done, I would say this today is about as long as yesterday's 6 hours worth of driving. It's probably on par with that.
Continue on US 89 North for 1.5 miles.
So it's going to be a treat when on the further legs of the trip, because I have some days where it's just like 3 hours of driving, so it's going to feel like luxury compared to these couple days of just really driving on the road. So I think you'll see, just so you know, on upcoming episodes, episodes like this tend to be a lot of filming from the vehicle. Some of you like that. That road footage, that road trip feeling, but we'll have some specific points of interest and more meaty things in the upcoming weeks as we travel. And we're only on day number 2 so far. But I'm doing good. I'm feeling great so far. I feel better today than I did yesterday, in fact. Still feeling good. All right, so since we have so much driving to do, I know we're going to be making a left turn here onto something called Route 20, which is supposed to cut us over, I think, to a major interstate.
Turn left onto Utah 20 West.
You sure about this, Google? You're not going to take me on some wild goose chase, are you? And this person better not try to pass me when I'm trying to turn left here. So it looks like this is going to Beaver, Utah. And
turn left onto Utah 20 West.
There you go, Utah 20 West. Alright, so what I think I'm gonna do is, I'm just probably gonna stop at this point. I have one other thing I plotted as a potential candidate stop.
Utah 20 West for 20 miles.
I really want to get to Salt Lake City area because I've never seen the Great Salt Lake, and I figure that's going to be a centerpiece of this episode. So I may be skimpy on the filming the next 4 hours or so, but if something strikes my fancy, I will film, and I probably will. But we'll just keep on rolling, so you can enjoy this drive with me. Like I said, I like to give some of you that feeling like you're on the road trip with me, so I'm hoping these segments in the truck give you that vibe and take your mind off of whatever's ailing you, if only for a short while. Well, folks, we're going to leave you here until next time when we reach Antelope Island, set up camp, explore a bit of history, and seek out the local wildlife. Until next time, thanks for watching.